What does a 7-round mock draft look like if the Jets draft Armand Membou with their first round pick? Let's find out. And we're back with another mock draft scenario. Today, we're doing a 7-round mock draft with the idea that our very first pick is going to be Membou, and then we're going to see how the rest of the draft board falls and what could happen to help fill the roster for the New York Jets and make them respectable in 2025. And our GM today is Monty. Yeah.
Let's go, Monty.
Don't F this up.
Let's go.
I'm not picking for the real Jets, man. I could F up all I want.
I
might
like $6 million a year. You wouldn't want that job?
I might go Shadur Sanders. Fuck it.
All right. Just to go over the rules here. We're going to do this via PFF, and we're going to stick to the same controls that we would do for any of these scenarios, right? We're going to do 7 rounds. We're going to choose public versus PFF because PFF is sometimes funny with it. Positional value and draft needs are going to be higher weighted than average, and there's going to be as little randomness as possible in this draft. Okay? Monty, guess what? We're entering the draft.
We are entering the draft.
And we're going to start now. Okay, so coincidentally, this draft fell the same way as it did in the other scenario, right? We got Cam Ward, Sanders, Hunter, Carter, Graham, and Genty. And then, Auntie, you are on the clock, and you can talk about our man, Armand Membou.
All right. I mean, there's not much to say that hasn't already been said. I mean, everything's there. The measurables are there. The game performance. He's played at a high level. Went to Mizzo, but, I mean, it's not like Mizzo's not in a an elite school. He is not necessarily the tallest guy there is, but outside of that, he is far and away the tackle prospect of this draft, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion. I am okay with the size at 6'3", 314. I think that's solid. I don't like tackles that are above, 320 pounds, really. I think the average, starting tackle in the league's around 320, 330, something like that. We had big problems when we went for the big boy Becton. His weight was a continual issue in his in his ability to basically recover once he actually had an injury. And you don't want to have any issues like that. You don't want to have any problems with any sort of injury recovery, or because tackles are going to get beat up, they are going to get hurt. I think he's very consistent. I'm a big fan. So, let's go ahead and make this happen. Let's make it official.
Just to kind of go real quick, he is a mauler, and there's a great film study by Joe Blewett on him. You should check it out. We're big fans of Jets X Factor. 90% of what we learn and echo to you guys is just stolen material from them, and they are friends of the show, like Nania is. The analysis: he presents a high athletic ceiling in 2023 before his confidence control just took over in 2024. There are times when he can play with more power, but he brings starting caliber length and movement ability to the NFL with good production as a zone blocker. Okay, the pros: good hip, hamstring flexibility to sit in a stance with balance and power. Low and explosive out of the stance. Naturally coordinated in his movements and footwork. Feet can move quickly. Looks great on the hoof as a puller and lead blocker. The cons: he can struggle to anchor on the edge despite it says here 325. It just said he was 314, but it says 325 here. Monty, you want to retract your statement?
No, because honestly, 320, 325 again, really it's like 330s where you start seeing problems.
He could have just had a trip to Big Mac or whatever, right?
Yeah, and 5 pounds is not a big deal. If he's 5 pounds over where I'd like him to be, that's not really a big deal. We're talking about comparatively to Becton, who was like 350.
365. Okay. Anyway, the other con: needs more strength for maintaining blocks and could use more of a finisher's mentality, which is one thing Becton was really good at. I will say that. But okay. But essentially we know a lot about Membou, and I think it's more likely than not that's going to be the pick, given that the tackle position, whether it's left or right, Blewett made a good point that they're basically the same in terms of value. One's just a blind side, but in reality, they're both doing essentially the same thing, which is protecting from the edge guys. And a lot of teams have 2 edge guys that will come at you with fury and fire. So we're making that pick, right? There's nothing. We also agreed to make that pick no matter what. So, okay. Membou's the pick. Okay. We keep going down the list. Okay. Monty, what are you going to do now?
All right, let's see what we got here. So, just looking at, kind of the top three best available there, you got Higgins, wide receiver. We've got, we could use a safety. Um, yeah, it's a little bit of a tough one. Let's see where we're at with what tight end is available. What's the
Thank
best
you for
available tight
asking,
end?
because that's the way to go, kind of in this case. So you got a couple guys that are kind of big names here.
Mhm.
Arroyo is one name that keeps coming up, right? Mason Taylor's another one. Ferguson's another one too, but maybe you could wait a little bit later on that if you could tell by the ADPs and the ranks. And then obviously Harold Fannin, who is highly graded, but obviously has some issues, which is why he's that far back. And he was actually the highest rated tight end from the last season.
Yeah.
But these are your tight ends. Do you want to explore any of these as options right now?
I'm very interested in Mason Taylor, but let's look at quarterback really quick.
You want to look
See
at
what,
quarterback?
yeah, just really quick.
QB.
Yep.
All
So
right.
it's,
Well, you got
It's
Milrow
Milrow and Howard.
and you
Okay.
got Jackson
Wait,
Dart.
how is Dart still?
That's what I was wondering. That's who I was looking for. Really was
What the-
Dart. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
think he's
little.
lasting that long. I really don't.
Yeah,
I think I think the Steelers realistically are going to be the third team to draft the quarterback this season.
yeah. Well,
I mean, his ADP is the Jets pick, right? 42
yeah.
overall, which is
So,
It
crazy.
is exactly. And if we just want to
so
look at the trend on him, I mean, like this. I mean, like he was, to start, I guess, last year. Wow, this was last year. Okay, last year he was here, then he sprouted up, and then he took a massive dip during, I guess, the beginning of the year. And what's crazy is this was his highest graded year, right? So like this is his playing time here, right? And then all of a sudden we all got draft heavy. Jackson Dart,
right.
which is interesting. What do you want to do here, Monty? Do you really want to go quarterback here, given that we have the quarterback for next year and the class the year after that's going to be fantastic?
Yeah, I do actually, because I'll tell you why. Because I think that the Jets need to do everything to try to nail the quarterback position down. I think we haven't done enough. I think we just need to be a little more aggressive on that. Like we get one guy, we anoint them, we just let him kind of be the guy. We don't we don't kind of like like look at teams like San Fran. I mean they realized that now they were blessed, in getting Brock Purdy, but still, I mean, they still traded. Oh my God, I forgot his name. Traded him over to the Cowboys. Got rid of him after spending. Yeah, exactly. After spending such a a high pick. Yeah, I think we need to go quarterback, and if it doesn't work, then we go quarterback again next year when we have a supposed good class. I think this guy's stock is rising for a reason. I think he might be a good hit. And you never know what could happen. We've seen the craziest shit happen with this Jets organization. We had Aaron Rodgers, go out in the first in the first series of the first game of the season not that long ago. So who's to say that couldn't happen to someone like Justin Fields, who puts his body on the line and runs around a lot? Tyrod Taylor's an injury risk. Jordan Travis can't even walk on the field right now. So, yeah, let's go with Jackson Dart.
Okay. I almost just want to suggest you don't take Jackson Dart because I think everyone in their mom's garage knows that there's no way Jackson Dart makes it to the second round.
I don't disagree. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I mean, everyone's saying that, but listen, it's possible. His ADP is exactly the Jets pick, though, as you guys pointed out. So that means he is going often enough right around that pick to where maybe he does make it there. And he was projected to make it there for a very long time. It was only very recently that he's kind of shot up. And then because QB is a little bit desolate this year, some teams might just say, you know what, maybe we don't need a QB that badly right now, and we'll wait a year or something. I don't know.
I just want to echo the reason why I say it, because I look at this board, right, which we really haven't done, right? What happened leading up to it, right? Pittsburgh was a team that needed a quarterback. It still doesn't have one. They took a tackle, right? Even though it's like, hey, QB's a need here, right? Okay. The Saints, right, over here, need a quarterback, right? They do need a quarterback regardless, right? Like I know it says no here, but they need a freaking quarterback, right? They passed on it here. And then in the second round, the Saints also had a situation where they could have drafted because they had the shot before us because of the way the draft order works with that pick, and they still said no. But if you want to do it, I'll do it. I think you're unrealistic to think that he's going to make it that far.
I don't think that that's unrealistic. I think that there's been more than enough, to say that he could make it that far. I don't think him making it past, I think him making it past us is pretty unrealistic, but I think him making it up to about our pick is still within the realm of possibility.
All right. Well, I just want to say for echoing right here, the non-white guys both drafted white quarterbacks. Here we go. Very good. Okay, now we're back on the clock here. You still have neglected so much. You're a horrible GM. What are you going to do now?
All right. Let's see. What do we got here? So all right. Let's look at tackle. Let's look at filter by tackle.
You want to go tackle again, even though you took Membou?
Let's see. I just want to see who's available.
Well, you got Ozzy.
Oh, okay. All right. Now let's look at defensive interior.
There you go. Okay, you got Alfred Collins, who I like. We talked about him in another episode too.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and get Alfred Collins involved.
I think that's a great pick, and just to kind of echo, if people didn't see the other episode that we did, the guy's a run-stopping machine. Doesn't have a lot to offer in terms of pass rush because of because of just who he is in general. But he can go from 0 to 5 technique. He's a quality player in this draft. Honestly, I think he has a high floor but a low ceiling, if that makes sense. But he doesn't need to be the number 1 D tackle because there's a guy named Quentin Williams on our team, and he's apparently pretty good. But basically, and if you check out the Tyler Warren episode, you'll kind of see a lot of the things that we talked about with him before. There's a lot to like about this guy, and there's also a lot not to as well. But that is why he's available to us at this pick. So we're going to take Alfred Collins, okay? Okay, very good. Thanks for the confirmation, guys. This is a great episode.
Yep.
Okay, now you're still on the clock. Okay, what are you going to do here?
Oh, guy Kyle Williams is still there, man.
Kyle Williams is still there.
Still need a pass catcher with what you've taken so far.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, you take a wide receiver here, you've hit all 4 of the needs that are on the list there, right? In the first 4 picks.
Yeah, plus
yeah. And they don't include tight end as a need, but yes, you would hit all of them.
Yeah, I definitely think that we do need to go wide receiver here. I mean, that's best available pick. I mean, PFF thinks so. They have him ranked so much higher than everyone around him. He's coming from a good situation. I think he'll be solid.
Okay,
again,
now you don't want to touch Harold Fanning at all?
No, because at this point, I feel like tight end's a little. It's not a foregone conclusion, but I think we just have to look elsewhere for that position, maybe.
All right, very good. Kyle Williams, you are now a New York Jet, and the clock moves around and around in the circles, and we're back here again. Okay, what are you going to do?
All right, now let's look at. Hold on a second. All right, what we got
and
here.
Just to refresh what your picks were, you had Membou, Dart, Collins, and Williams.
Gotcha. All right, and then
very good. Way to leave.
Let's see let's see the wide receivers.
All right, wide receivers again, even though you just drafted one. Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got a bunch of guys here.
Yeah,
I just like the name Kanata. Mumpet.
I've been seeing a lot of good things about Jalen Lane, man.
Yeah, you want to explore that option, Monty?
Let's look at him.
Okay. First look.
Ooh, okay.
First look, 5'10", 196. You better hope he's fast. Okay. Not too many touchdowns, right? Not too many receptions either, or targets as well, right?
Seems like a wide receiver 3. Like, no.
And I think he's too similar to Kyle Williams.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams. All right, so you're going to ignore that completely.
Don't do that. All right, so then let's move to safety.
That's a better position to think about because you haven't addressed the defense. You're a monster. Okay, very good. All right, you got a couple safeties here.
I haven't addressed the defense. I picked up a defensive interior like a pick ago.
You're a horrible GM.
Yeah. Let's go with Bowman.
You want to go with Bowman? All right, so we're going to look at him, right? Pretty solid. Has played both a mix, box and deep, mostly deep, which would kind of counter what you've got with Cisco, but at least he's got experience in the box, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
Good coverage grades, forcing completion rates just about average. The missed tackle rate is definitely an issue with him, and the run defense is okay.
I think the tackle can be addressed with coaching. Yeah, I think that's okay.
Oh, we got some analysis on it.
And that's the other thing is that's why I was interested in him. I'm glad they brought it up. Interceptions. I think he's a ball hawk. I think that's something we haven't seen on the Jets in a while. And I want a guy who's going to give us back the football. I think that, you don't need to have a top 3 shutdown defense, but if you have a defense that's higher in the league in terms of generating turnovers, that's a defense that gives your offense now a chance to score. That's a defense that can be well rested because they're taking the ball away quick, or they're taking the ball away and they're, back off the field, and then they can come back and play their heart out. You mix that in with, a good blitz scheme from someone, like Aaron Glenn, who understands how important it is to blitz. I think it's a good compliment. I think this is a guy who fits his scheme and what he's trying to do.
Okay. Just note that he is a fast mother. 4.42, which is fast for a safety. Makes him in the 93rd percentile, and he's versatile, man up the slot or play center field. Okay, and he's got the ball skills and instincts you just talked about. But the cons: he's undersized to be a true safety. He doesn't have good length either. He lacks the length, and strength shows up as a tackler. The tackling is an issue apparently with this guy. And big body receivers can box him out in contested situations. Are you okay living with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think we can coach him up.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay. Drafted. Okay. Okay, now you're still on the clock. What are you going to do now?
All right, now let's look at tackle.
We'll look at tackle again. Okay. Okay, you got some guys here. Here's our guy.
Yeah, there's our guy.
That Jack Nelson guy. I like him, but okay.
Yeah, let's see.
Emory Jones is an interesting one too.
He is an interesting name, and I'll kind of go into him too if he wants. And he's a right tackle too, which but there's a lot not to like about him as well. But he is improving in the sack count, which is good.
What does his size look like?
His size looks like 6'6" and 315, so big dude.
I mean, this is the kind of guy you draft later on and hope to develop. You know what I mean? It's only 21.
Yeah. Let's look at. Can you look at all the players by ADP again, or like just kind of what they're saying is?
Sure. You got ETN, you got Tyfeld, you got Kanata, Mumpfeld, Upton Stout, Jake. You got this.
We didn't go tight end.
Yeah, tight end. You want to look at tight ends?
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that tight end.
All right. First look, you got 6'6" and 240. Okay. But honestly, they say he looks more like a wide receiver than a tight end, likely how he'll be deployed in the NFL. Long arms and stride lend themselves as well as a big target over the middle and near the sideline as an X. He also plays the chip on his shoulder. Oh, you gotta love that fucking coach speak right there, right? Everyone has a chip on their shoulder, right? He plays on the edge each play. Something coaches will like. His game lacks strength of any sorts of tight end projections. So, okay, he can't block. He has low impact run blocking grade, and his blocking fundamentals are undisciplined. His main work comes as a receiver. However, he needs more nuance as a route runner to make it transition to wide receiver full time, and he could be more dynamic after the catch. Okay, basically, yeah. I mean, you kind of know we know all that right now. There is some stuff here. Height, big plus, smooth mover, above average speed, reliable hands, plays with an edge. Coach speak. Cons: doesn't have the mass to be a big blocker in line or as a wingback. Doesn't consistently square up defenders when blocking. Needs to improve route running and basically the stuff I said. But you want to take that anyway?
Yeah, I think I'm interested in him. I think he offers, upside as a developmental, tight end. I think he can't be any, necessarily worse than our options now. I think he's a great target. I think what we need is a pass catcher, and I think he can be a good target for someone like Justin Fields. So let's leverage that, and let's go from there.
All right, too late. We already did it. Okay, very good. Now what are you going to do?
All right, 6th round. Let's go.
A lot of receivers. It's kind of crazy. They're just lining up here.
Yeah. Might need to just go there just in case. Let's go. Let's look at wide receiver.
Ty Felton or Tay.
Let's see all. But let's
6'2", 186. All right, former 3-star. And he hasn't graduated yet, but he can. Doesn't have a ton of experience versus press and struggles to get free against press man coverage. As a blocker, his lack of weight limits his efficacy. The stats show receiving grade is pretty solid. Tested catch rate, not so great. Grade versus man coverage is very high, and the drop rate is below average. Yards per route is above average. Looks like he started off hot in the year, and then he cooled down.
Okay, let's look at all the wide receivers really quick.
Okay, fine. Kanata, right? More of a solid guy. Receiving grade, middle of the pack drop rate. little bit below average versus man. Better contested catch. Yards per route is very middle of the pack. The size is 6'1", 185. The trends are all over the place, which is interesting. The analysis. Now here's a guy. Okay. But you want to basically just take a receiver or best available at this point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I mean, you can look at Sam Brown too and all that, but you basically just want to take a wide receiver, right?
Yeah. I guess let's go with Ty Felton.
Okay. There we go. Very good. And I think that's the end of your draft.
No,
you got one more. Yeah, you got one more. Okay.
Oh, we're doing 7. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got.
What position would you like to address? And here are your picks again, right? You basically tackle, QB, DT, wide receiver, safety, tight end, wide receiver.
Okay. All right. Let's look at tight end again.
Oh, girl. Okay, you got an Iowa guy.
Dude, Iowa tight end, draft him and don't even look back.
Yep.
Don't look back. I don't even need to see anything about him.
Yep. Let's go.
Lackey. I mean, this guy is definitely a white tight end in Iowa, right? 100%.
Yep.
Right? No touchdowns the last 2 years, but you want to get him anyway, right?
What is the size?
Size is 6'6", 247. It's a big dude.
Yeah.
Good size for NFL.
Yeah, there it is.
Blocking has some nastiness. Catches percentage is very high in the last 2 years. Shows good fundamentals with run blocking. Struggles to separate. Gets pushed around the run game versus DNs. Weight can get a bit too over his toes when blocking. You can live with that?
I can live with all of that.
You can absolutely live with that.
Of course. Yeah. God. It's like prejudice against this thing. All right, so let's see what your grade is. We're getting the grade. It said it's big knock on you is that you drafted Jackson Dart and you could have gone Chevron Rebel. Yeah, I could see that. But let's see how it did here. It gave you an F for the Jackson Dart.
Jesus.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy though, because it said quarterback's the number 1 need.
Yeah, well, because he wasn't the best available quarterback when I took him. That's why.
Milrow
they wanted me to take Milrow, but
all right, you got a B+ though. Congratulations.
Listen, I'm going to be honest, man. If this draft plays out with Membou and Dart as their first 2 picks, listen, we can go home after that. That would be a home run. And then to Kyle Williams also double down at tight end. I don't know. I don't know how many Jet fans. There wouldn't be too many fans that are upset with this draft.
Yeah, I thought Bowman was an A-, but B+ is okay for that one. That was one I was worried a little bit about. Waited a little long on tight end, a little more than I wanted to, but I would rather have Bowman and then that tight end than the tight ends that were available at 45 and whatever safety was available.
Yeah, and I mean, you still got it. You still got a B for the Clemson tight end. So I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we're gonna probably if we ended up like this. We're walking away with one of those wide receivers. We're walking away with one of those tight ends when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Collins will probably be around. We'll see what Bowman could do. Dart, may or may not hit, but I think we should just need to keep swinging at quarterback. I just think that philosophically, as the Jets, we need to keep swinging at quarterback until we find our guy. We anoint guys too fast, and I want us to keep at it. I don't want us to say, "Oh, this year's draft sucks, so let's avoid it." No, I think you just keep doing it.
Dude, this grading algorithm is crazy. I can't imagine in any world where Dart would be an F, even if he wasn't their top quarterback on the board. I agree with that.
I don't think he's ever going to be there anyway, to be totally honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he is either. But if he is, I mean, that's a whole.
Realistically, if you didn't go quarterback there and he wasn't there. Milrow is there, who I still don't like enough to take in the second round. Yeah. But realistically, you probably would have taken a tight end there, right?
Right.
And
Mason Taylor.
Colson would have been gone, so you would have probably had your pick at the number 3 tight end.
Right? I would have taken Mason Taylor there.
Right. So if you take Mason Taylor there, you still could have got Kyle McCord where I got him in the 5th round.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's a. But still, nevertheless, I mean, if Dart is there, you take him. Chances of him being there probably 10%. Because some team is going to trade up for him, whether it's into the 1st or to jump the Jets to get him, right? But again, if he's there, that's a home where you don't even think twice about it.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, well, the good news is, if I got a B+ still with an F as my second, that means I nailed the rest of that pick as far as they're concerned.
And your draft ranked in the top 44% of Jets drafts. So you're basically in the same spot as Adnan was with his draft where he drafted Tyler Warren.
All right, well.
But I'll give you the edge regardless, just because the Jackson Dart grade is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, the Jackson Dart grade is stupid. Yeah, I think that's an A draft. Being able to get Dart there at.
I'll give you an A minus.
A minus. I gave myself like an A- too.
Okay, very good. Congratulations. You're self-grading yourself. Like, that's okay. Very good. Okay. We will continue on with these mock drafts in further episodes, but for now, just remember, people.
Buy our swag!
Are you in need of ethically sourced, 100% non-toxic, laughter-inducing apparel?
Buy our swag!
Do you long for merchandise that respects your right to chuckle in a safe, turbulence-free environment?
Buy our swag!
Look no further. The Laugh Through the Turbulence store is here to provide you with the most socially conscious, eco-friendly-ish, and cancellation-resistant merch available.
Buy our swag!
Our products have been metaphorically crash-tested for comedic integrity, ensuring they meet the highest standards of non-offensive, inclusive, and totally New York Jets-approved humor.
Buy our swag!
Whether you're looking for a t-shirt that says Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast, or a hat that says Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast, we've got you covered.
Buy our swag!
So, take a smooth, seatbelt-fastened journey over to our store. The link is in the bio of our YouTube page, and shop with confidence. Because the only turbulence you should experience is watching the New York Jets.
Buy our swag!
Disclaimer, no actual turbulence was used in the making of this match. Side FS may include uncontrollable giggling, heightened fashion sense, and an overwhelming desire to talk about the New York Jets. Ha ha ha.
Buy our swag!